This cannot continue. I always say that there's too much happening that really shouldn't be happening within the passport acquisition system. If we talk about Goro people, these Goro people are outsiders. They do not work on their own, because if the Goro person collects somebody's money, they need to work with somebody from inside to change the dates. They work with people from inside. I'm not saying all of you, but there are some of you who are engaged in it. And this should stop. The blame is always on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Meanwhile, it's the agencies, and I'm sure even some of our staff are involved. Public servants who are supposed to be giving public service to Ghanaians. The Vice President has led the digitalization effort with my support and all of my officers to put in place an online system. Now the online system is being manipulated so that people can make money off it. There's an investigation going on, and some names have been mentioned. And there are people from outside, a cartel who are working with people from inside. Anybody who has been here for more than a year, from Monday, please do not come back, because you've been changed. We want to bring some sanity. Every time politicians are corrupt. Meanwhile, it's some public civil servants who will do things that shouldn't be done, and then they put it on politicians. We come, we do the right thing. I'm trying to bring sanity into the passport system, but no.
Well, so welcome back to the AM show. Let's get into the big issues now. And of course, let's start from the, in quote, anger of the minister when she paid a visit to the passport office and acquainted herself with what was happening. She is not happy with how things are progressing at the office. She says now that we've digitalized the processes, people should not struggle like they do currently in acquiring a passport. Well, I've been joined on the line by lawyer Kweku Paintel. He is still with us. Dr. John Osai Kwapong. He is a CDD Ghana fellow. Those of us on Facebook, we call him the professor. We also have Vitus Azim. He is an anti-graft campaigner. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Great.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Dr. John Osai Kwapong. I mean, on social media, you do have a lot of experiences to share. If you look at the challenges Ghanaians go through in acquiring a passport and you compare it to other jurisdictions, what is really wrong with our system that needs correction for us to have a very smooth, process?
Thank you very much. Good morning again. As you play the clip, the minister is pointing to something key that frustrates the process, and that is still the human involvement in the process of passport acquisition, right? She talks about, and rightly so, that to facilitate the process, to make it more efficient, there are all of these efforts to introduce technology, to digitalize the process and all of that. And yet there is still that human factor that, gets, in the way of the process, whether it's the changing of dates, things like that. And I think that is what makes it different from other jurisdictions, which is, the lack of fidelity to the well-established processes and procedures for the acquisition of a passport. Nobody wants to wait their turn. And there are people, as she rightly pointed out, there are people on the inside who ensure that, people, skip the line, etc., etc. Because really, the Goro boy the Goro person who takes your money cannot facilitate the process for you without the collusion of someone on the inside, because they do not have the Goro person doesn't have access to whatever systems is in place. And again, technology is supposed to facilitate these things and make them faster, but there's still that human hands that still ends up slowing down the process for one reason or another. And that becomes the challenge, and that becomes what distinguishes our process from the process in other jurisdictions. Yes, getting something from the public sector sometimes can take time, because you are not the only one demanding the service or in need of a particular product, and there are processes that you have to go through. But again, there are things that have been put in place to facilitate that process, to make it more efficient. And unfortunately, the human factor, colludes with other persons to make it unnecessarily frustrating.
You had mentioned that this same human factor have been able to, temper with the online system such that it reduces the efficiency of that system. How do we deal with these people to ensure that, we are able to completely move them away from interfering with the system, so the system can work and deliver the sort of efficiency that we're all looking for?
That's a really tough one. But I think when you find those who deliberately get in the way of allowing the process to work as efficiently as it is, and you exert punishment, I think in these cases, immediate punishment is the key. That would help serve as a deterrent to others, because we can keep introducing the technology, we can keep rewriting the rules. But if we don't enforce the rules, if we don't enforce the processes, the procedures that we've put in place, then those things would not, produce the kind of results that we expect to produce, which means that ultimately what you need to do is the enforcement of whatever sanctions you put in place against those who are found to be culpable of undermining the systems and processes that you put in place.
Let me bring in Lawyer Kweku Pentel here. Lawyer, so with your legal understanding, the minister says those who have overstayed, and of course, some of them could be behind all of these issues that do not help in us getting the sort of efficiency we need. In quotes, these Goro boys and all of that. She says they shouldn't come back from Monday. Is that the best way to deal with it? How do we ensure that the right things are done so that the right message can be conveyed? Lawyer Pinto? Well,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now hear you.
Hello?
I can now hear you, sir.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that, please, my Kweku is E. I'm a Fanti. It's not KWA. It's KWEKU.
Kweku.
Yes?
That's fine.
Fantis don't spell Kweku with A.
That's
right. So I'm on. Yeah, so I'm good. So what I'm saying is that I understand what she said to mean an acknowledgement on the minister's part that keeping people in one place for too long helps to breed corruption. This is basic for those who do public administration. They don't keep one person in one place for all this long. So it's an acknowledgement on her part. So I don't even understand her to mean that they are necessarily going to be sacked, but then they are going to be shifted over the place. That's just a part of the problem. But as a lawyer, let me just tell you other problems related to this. Currently in this country, or rather on the part of the World Bank, every year they publish what they call World Bank doing business in Africa. They do it on a country-to-country basis. So every year you've got what they call World Bank doing business in Ghana. And in that book or in that report is a kind of chronology of all kind of services that are available in this country over what timelines that you can achieve those things. Like if you want to register a company, they give you a timeline for all the activities. If you want to register a business, JIPC, they give you a timeline of all the activities and the related cost of doing those kind of things. And this is available online, available all over. So when a businessman, for instance, wants to instruct a Ghanaian lawyer, he's already gone online, he's seen all that information, and when it comes to you, he instructs you, he has a fair idea of what kind of timelines that these things are expected. Let me use, because what the minister said, the same thing runs at the Registrar General Department, which is the key point. I'm sorry I have to make those cross analysis, but it's absolutely important. The frustration that the minister expressed with regard to obtaining a passport is the same thing when you go to Registrar General. And so when your foreign investor who sits in America goes to World Bank doing business in Ghana, is able to see that this thing is supposed to run through 3 weeks and that is the total cost of it. When you go to the ground, it doesn't work. Go to land valuation. Please quote me on this thing. Go to land valuation. You want to stamp a simple document. You go, they will tell you that, listen, under normal circumstances, this thing will take 3 weeks. But if you are able to find a way and put weight on paper, we can get it for you 3 days. And if you don't do the 3-day deal, and you leave it for the 3 weeks, 3 months, you're not going to get it. So these things are locked up in all kinds of institutions and places where we are supposed to get things according to certain timelines. So what the minister said is just the tip of the iceberg. And so how we have to eliminate these things, what the minister has said is just one of it. How about putting cameras or people monitoring these things from remote locations, seeing how things, I mean, technology are taking us to the place.
You're making a very cogent argument, but unfortunately, the line is still not helping us. You're making fantastic submission, but I don't know. Maybe your internet does not want to permit you this morning. But let's try again. So you said what the minister has done or has said is only a tip of the iceberg, and even at the Lands Commission or the land valuation you mentioned. They do that to you as a lawyer yourself, right? We'll try and raise lawyer Kweku Pinto so we can. But I also have Mr. Vitus Azim on the telephone with us here. He's an anti-graft campaigner. Mr. Azim, good morning. Hello, Mr. Azim.
Yeah, good morning.
Great to have you. Great to have you join us here on the show. Now, what's your take on what the minister did yesterday at the passport office?
Well, I think that sometimes we do things without looking at the implications. You don't just transfer people verbally. Yes, she's frustrated about what is happening, but then there are procedures for dealing with employees. But that may not even solve the problem. You can move those people away and bring angels from heaven. If you don't put certain measures in place, they will do the same thing. And it is sad because it's not like our people don't know what to do or they don't want to do it. Look, as far back as 1997, when they were changing the passports, I was in the US. I just made my passport to the DC, the embassy in DC. And within 2 to 3 months, I got a replacement passport. Then I came one day to Accra Passport Office to change my passport that expired. When I entered, the lady, small girl, told me, "Oh, go and come back in the afternoon. We'll take your biometrics. We are busy." And I said, "Look, this is just a renewal. Why should I have to go and come back? In Accra, you don't drive around because of traffic." She said, "Well, they are busy." I left here, went up to one of the same director's office. He took my passport, gave me 2 days to come back and take the new passport. People can do the work. They don't want to do it because we've not put in place measures that will make them effective. So we need to set timelines for the staff. In a day, if you can process, you have to process a certain number of passports. If you're not able to do that, then you lose your job or you get some form of sanction. We need effective monitoring and supervision, and we need sanctions in place if this thing has to work.
Okay.
They have an express passport system. You go and pay at the bank, and yet the express, even after 3 months, you don't hear from them at all. You keep going and they keep talking up and down because somebody is benefiting from it. Then you have to scatter the people around the passport office. If you have nothing doing in the passport office, don't come and stay around there because they are the people that are making those arrangements. Even those who pretend to be selling around there. One time a woman confronted me, oh, I'm not coming for a passport. Give her 2,000, she'll get it for me. I left her and went away. So those around are also collaborating with people inside the house. And the leadership, the management must sit up and identify those behind these things and take action against them. Otherwise, the situation will change.
So the solution is not just digitalizing the processes to say, let's do it online. That's not it.
No, it's not enough.
Okay.
It's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough because there are people who are still behind the process. Even manipulating the system, always saying the system is down. You go to the office every day, the system is down. Even banks, a teller tells you the system that cannot your money. You have to get effective functioning of the system. If it means outsourcing the RCC aspect. Because you are using your own staff, they can connive with the rest of the staff to ensure that the system don't work.
Okay.
So first, if you are digitalizing, you must make sure that the systems work. And then you monitor and supervise what is happening to ensure that it happens. I mean, the right thing happens. And if that doesn't happen, you identify the culprits and sanction them. It's not the first step.
Okay. So in making the system work, you've mentioned two things. We should ensure we give them a target for the day. As in a day, you should be able to process these number of passports or you lose your job. The other thing is also to outsource some of these functions, right? These are the two solutions you're giving.
Yeah, that's one. Those are two, but not all. I'm talking about monitoring and supervising, identifying the culprits and sanctioning them.
So from where we are, that the minister says they've identified that some Goro boys are frustrating the system. How should we progress from where we are?
Well, the first thing, once you've identified them, even if you are not arresting them, you scatter them from the place. Even any people from coming around, if you are not submitting any passport. If they are not around, they cannot influence the system, or at least the influence will be minimized. But they are just hanging around there and greeting people and asking them, oh, need something. And because either you are in a rush, you need urgently, or you think that you don't know anybody there, you are tempted to say, okay, please help me.
Okay.
But if you have a sitting arrangement for anybody that arrives to go in and sit down, within a certain period, let's say 6 to 8 o'clock, anybody who arrives goes to sit down, and you make sure that you admit the number of people you can attend to in a day. Then you're reducing the stress on the applicants as well as on and ensuring that the right thing is done.
Okay. All right. Let me bring in someone who has become known as the face of foreign affairs in Parliament. He's a ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Grateful for joining us, sir. I'm sure you've seen what the minister has done at the passport office. First, your reaction on it.
Hi, good morning, Sam, and good morning to all the distinguished viewers of Joy. I must say that the minister has carried out what you will call an emotive ministerial reaction, which to some extent you will say that looking at the circumstances, you cannot really fault her, except that it raises a number of issues. There is a director at the passport office, a whole director. They didn't have to take their minister to descend from her ministry and to engage in that open outburst, quite, emotional, and for the minister to then be dismissing people on site and all of that. It tells you that there is something fundamentally wrong. The leadership at the passport office falls short of the leadership requirements that you will expect to see for such a sensitive position. And this morning, the director of the passport office and all those in management must be answering questions why it had to take the minister to descend on the passport office and engage in that open intervention and almost an altercation, if you like. Then I must also state that there is a challenge with the minister's approach in how she dismissed people on site. Yes, we all want to see tough leadership, decisive leadership, and that's why I am restraining myself in not, if you like, criticizing or condemning the minister, because when you have people you have put in charge not doing their work, that's what it will come to. And perhaps the minister should have taken notice that certain directors were not doing their work properly and could have reshuffled them or reassigned them elsewhere. But the other challenge I was coming to relates to the sweeping sanctions or dismissals. If care is not taken, innocent people could be caught in the fray. So I would still urge that it will be necessary for a disciplinary committee to still carry out some independent investigations into the role of those the minister met. Are we sure that all of them are involved in all of these underhand dealings, the bribery, the corruption, all the untoward conduct that the minister is angry about? Are we really sure that is everybody on site she met who is involved? Is it not possible that some innocent people may have been caught up in the crossfire? So I would still want a certain due process to be carried out so that those who are guilty, yes, let them fall on their own sword. But those who are innocent should be allowed. It will not be fair. It will not be just to punish people because of the sins of others when they are not partakers. They have not been part of the mess. Then finally, I must say that more fundamentally, what has led to this is a certain backlog. Our committee, the Foreign Affairs Committee, has been meeting the passport office and the ministry on this matter because we have received numerous petitions about the backlog. People who have applied more than a year ago, more than 2 years ago, and they have not received their passport. What they told us was that the vendors had some supply chain difficulties because of COVID and all of that. But they presented to us a roadmap. We demanded a roadmap for the backlog to be cleared. It does appear that the backlog has not been cleared. And that is what is leading to people then trying to take advantage of the fact that people are frustrated. There are so many people in the queue. Some want to come ahead of the queue. They don't want to join the queue to wait for a long time. And that is what people in the system, together with their agents, you may call them Goro boys or whatever, that's what they are exploiting. So to address this matter once and for all, you need to clear the backlog. I think the last time we met them, it was about 11,000. We need to clear all of that backlog and revert to the full automated system where the human discretion is eliminated. We don't have any human interface. So I look at you, if I like you, if I don't like you, then you're either coming early or you're coming later. No. Let's clear the backlog and then allow the automated system to work so that things are done based on what the computerized system says should be the approach.
Okay.
I think that is how to resolve this matter moving forward.
Now, this is not the first time this minister is showing anger at how things are done at the passport office. In 2018, there's a story, and it reads that the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, essentially Ayeko Botwe, recently made an unannounced trip to the passport office in Accra to see things for herself. She was taken through the processes of acquiring passports, but she seemed unhappy with what she saw, especially when she spoke to this disgruntled passport applicant who had been waiting for months for their passports. She therefore made her intention to shake up the outfit and put right what was going wrong. This is 2018, and we're in 2023, 5 years down the line, and it looks like we are still not able to remove some of these impediments. So, are we really going to see these kind of changes anytime soon? Where do we begin from? How do we do it?
So, to be honest with you, I would say that let us start from leadership. I take the view that the time has come for the minister to reassess the people who are sent there to manage the passport office. Because, you see, that is her call, and that's an agency under her. So if you have a situation where every now and then you have to descend, you have to go on a surprise visit, and anytime you arrive, you don't like what you see, and all of that. What does that say about the people the minister puts in charge of the passport office? Clearly, there is something wrong. So, it is time for the minister to carry out an honest reassessment of the people who are deployed to manage the passport office. They may be doing their best, but their best is clearly not enough. And they have questions to answer. Because, you see, this is a knee-jerk approach. I mean, where systems work, in jurisdictions where, you know, the system really works, people do what they must do, and they know that there will be sanctions if they don't get the job done. They won't earn their salaries. Okay. It doesn't take superiors to have to pay a surprise visit, and then that's when there is helter-skelter, and probably things begin to feel right for a few days, a few weeks, and then we revert to the old terrible ways of doing things. So my candid advice, and that will be the advice from our committee, will be that the minister must reassess the people who are asked to handle the passport office. And you see, when people are appointed, they should be given clear KPIs. Do they really understand their role? Do they have a mandate? Do they have targets that they must meet? And what happens when they fail to meet those KPIs, when they fail to meet those targets? Those are the things that must be done. That's a more sustainable approach. This business of ministers every now and then parachuting themselves in to the passport office and screaming horse and dismissing people on site, and then we are back to square one in a few weeks. That's not a sustainable approach, if you ask me.
All right, I'll let you off here, but just before you go, will your committee take any action on this?
Yes, certainly we have been looking into this matter. As I told you earlier, we agreed on a roadmap. We asked them to go clear the backlog. So we already have some scheduled meetings coming up to see to what extent they have cleared the backlog. But we are going to certainly add this latest development, particularly with the general dismissals and all of that. We want to be sure that those who have been dismissed deserve to be dismissed. No innocent person has been caught in the fray. But more importantly, we want the systems to work. We want a more sustainable, permanent resolution where the right people are appointed, they are given clear KPIs, and that they meet those targets. So certainly, the Foreign Affairs Committee will be taking an interest in this matter. We have a meeting later today, and I'm surely going to raise this issue.
Sami Akpenamao. Great.
No.
Sami Okudzeto Ablakwa there. He's ranking on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. Well, so that's it.